Inamanandam. Many parts of the Necronomicon seem to be derived from other ancient works such as the Enuma Elish, the Epic of Gilgamesh, and other books listed in the Necronomicon bibliography. This, coupled with the fact that no one was allowed to see the original manuscript, has led many to be critical of the story of the book's origins. Is there any evidence that you can supply to establish the authenticity of the story, such as photos of the manuscript? Was the title Necronomicon mentioned in the original manuscript that was obtained from the monk's cache of stolen books? Any response to the book's critics? Hashayo. This would require an entire article in itself. Briefly, let me say this. The title of the Mass was Necronomicon. That was about all the actual reference to Lovecraft's tome that existed in the MS itself. You should know that I myself knew nothing of Lovecraft at the time. I had never read that type of fiction. I was more interested in the actual technologies than in fictional speculation, and the only time I gravitated towards fictional treatments of occultism was when I came across the Wheatley novels, which were Romans a Clef. Aside from 3 Wheatley books, I read no occult fiction, no science fiction, no horror fiction. Those particular genres don't interest me at all. So, the name Necronomicon meant nothing to me at the time, but it meant something to Herman Slater, who was an avid reader of all sorts of fantasy fiction. As for the Necronomicon being a hoax, as I have said many times, if it is a hoax, it is a damned poor one. There is so little there that corresponds to Lovecraft's oeuvre that it might be embarrassing as a hoax. The name Abdul al-Hazred does not appear, for instance. Many of the Lovecraftian concepts and myths are missing or distorted. I admit going out on a limb equating Cthulhu with Cthulhu, but it still seems valid to me today, more than 25 years later. I also stand by my reading of chthonic as the Chthonic in Miskatonic, and a number of other analyses made at the time. I'm aware that Lovecraft insisted he made up the book. I'm also aware that he had relations with a number of individuals who were active in occult lodges, including the Golden Dawn, which speaks in its literature about a mysterious book written in Arabic, which leads me to wonder if he had heard of the name Necronomicon or some of the Golden Dawn legends, and then confabulated his own version for fictional reasons. The MS itself was part of a cache of stolen books. The monks who stole these books and masses over a period of years made national headlines. They were convicted and sent to federal prison. There is no mystery about that. But the MS was stolen, it was acquired illegally, and that is all I am prepared to say about the book's origins. Inamanandam. You mentioned Lovecraft knew people in the Golden Dawn and other occult lodges. Do you have any specific information as to who he might have known? Simon. I have found a few references in the John Carter book, Sex and Rockets, on page 102, where Carter refers to the relationships existing between the Pasadena Lodge of the OTO and Clark Ashton Smith and Frank Belknap Long, both Lovecraft correspondents, I believe. On page 60 of that same work, Carter mentions a E. Hoffman Price, who claimed to have introduced occult ideas to Lovecraft. Those are the references to which I alluded. Inamanandam. The name Abdul al-Hazred doesn't appear in the book, but the term Mad Arab does. Was this in the manuscript? Simon. Yes, although his name is missing. Inamanandam. The original run of 666 copies of the Necronomicon was printed in 1977. There have been many other Necronomicons, but none have come anywhere near the popularity of yours. I believe that it may be the best-selling occult book of all time. How do you feel about the book now that it's been circulating for 25 years? Simon. I am proud of my participation in the project. I have a lot of feelings about the book's publishing history, and I will get back to you a little later with more on the subject. But it is obvious that the book has a great deal of merit as an occult tool. It has been on the bestseller list at Fort Benning, Georgia, for a long time for some reason. The military has always had a fascination for the book, since the very first 1977 edition. William Burroughs praised the book as a landmark in the history of spiritual liberation. Pretty heavy and totally unsolicited praise from Burroughs, who was as generous with his contempt as with his compliments. I'm only saddened to learn that Larry Barnes, Herman Slater, and so many others are not around to share in the book's continued success.